Looking at Aptos and its identifier as kind of this next-gen L1 ecosystem, what do you think is possibly kind of overlooked or a key identifier that you'd like to raise about the Aptos ecosystem in 2025?
We've been really focused on what we call the global trading engine. Assets being traded as quickly with as much volume as possible, as many assets being listed. And ultimately, we think that you have to kind of build from the ground up to make that happen, right?
Big narratives to watch have been stablecoins, and just recently we saw the announcement of USD1 migrating and also incorporating Aptos into the ecosystem. Just talk me through what we've seen as the news recently and also your view on stablecoins at the moment.
So stablecoins, of course, are one of the hottest trends right now in the sector. We've been very pleased to be selected by all the large asset issuers, USDT, USDC, USDE, PYUSD, and now USD1 for Aptos as the home for kind of money movement. It just shows the confidence in the large issuers of putting their assets onto Aptos. We've also seen tremendous growth. USDT, I think we're number 2 by transactions and just being launched earlier this year. We've also seen, I think, the fastest growth from the USDC that they've ever noticed in the past. And I think we expect no different with USD1 now coming out to Aptos.
Well, joining me now, I have Avery, CEO and co-founder of Aptos Ecosystem. Thank you so much for joining me today on what's been a very busy week. How are you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. It's been a very, very fun weekend.
Fantastic. Well, great to have you here. Really appreciate you taking the time. And I think for a lot of our audience that are watching, they're very familiar with the Aptos ecosystem, but to get to sit to you in Q3 of 2025 is just a real pleasure. Starting off looking at Aptos and its identifier as kind of this next-gen L1 ecosystem, what do you think is possibly kind of overlooked or a key identifier that you'd like to raise about the Aptos ecosystem in 2025?
That's a great question. I think, there's so many L1s and L2s out there. Next generation, I think, is not really a great way to kind of capture what, each ecosystem is working on. I think for Aptos, we've been really focused on what we call the global trading engine. And that means that we want to have assets being traded as quickly with as much volume as possible, as many assets being listed. And ultimately, we think that you have to kind of build from the ground up to make that happen, right? So as opposed to being more of a general purpose infrastructure like AWS, we're thinking more about those high level services and then thinking about the product experience that really differentiates us from everyone else out there.
Fantastic. And it seems like you're not even looking to compete with other L1s. It's like just the kind of new financial rails.
That's right. We believe that the future of finance is decentralized. We have worked really hard to kind of build out the infrastructure that, centralized exchanges have in some ways paved the way for us. They've shown that people want to trade, people want to have access and exposure to crypto and also non-traditional assets, right? And we believe that blockchain is actually a solution for making this happen. It can be more performant, it can be more decentralized, it can be more permissionless. And this allows more access to users, more access to assets. And also fundamentally, it means a more trusted system that everybody can participate in.
Now, the big news in 2025 and big narratives to watch have been stablecoins. And just recently, we saw the announcement of USD1 migrating and also incorporating Aptos into the ecosystem. Huge news. Congratulations.
Thank you.
But it also shows the potential and the optimism that Aptos has as an ecosystem to stablecoins as a future. So just talk me through what we've seen as the news recently and also your view on stablecoins at the moment.
Yeah, so stablecoins, of course, are one of the hottest trends right now in the sector. And we've been very focused on RWAs this last year as well. So between the two of them, stablecoin is just another form of RWA when you think about it, right? It's an asset that's tokenized, fiat tokenized, and then put on chain. We've been very pleased to be selected by all the large asset issuers, USDT, USDC, USDE, PYUSD, and now USD1 for Aptos as the home for kind of money movement. I think it just shows the confidence in the large issuers of putting their assets onto Aptos. We've also seen tremendous growth. USDT, I think we're number 2 by transactions and just being launched earlier this year. We've also seen, I think, the fastest growth from the USDC that they've ever noticed in the past. And I think we expect no different with USD1 now coming out to Aptos.
And also for institutional trends as well, a lot of people are saying, the potential for stablecoins as settlement, collateral, but also kind of DeFi elements too, is really unlimited. And it's just an exciting almost inflection point of what we're seeing for the next level of DeFi and also decentralized finance infrastructure on chain. What kind of trends are you seeing right now in the Aptos ecosystem?
We're noticing that a lot of, the trends are coming from two directions. The large institutions are tokenizing assets. We've had the success of BlackRock, Franklin Templeton, Apollo, all tokenizing money market and other funds on top of Aptos very successfully. We're now number 3, I think, on RWA.XYZ. We've also seen large new players coming to the space. We are working with PAC Protocol, where they've tokenized private credit on chain and amassed billions of dollars of loans over time to emerging markets where the loan amounts might be like 10 to 50K, but I think serving a very different audience. And so these kind of RWAs, and then also pair with stablecoins, and then paired with kind of building out like full stack exchange products that are completely decentralized and offer net new experiences for these assets, I think is something that we're tremendously excited about.
Fantastic. And also for our retail audience that are watching as well within the Aptos ecosystem, it's kind of, there's a lot of cultural plays as well at heart. So what would you say for the cultural trends that you're seeing for the kind of the crypto natives that are watching?
I think for the builders and I think the users of Aptos, we just actually had a crazy party last night where I think 3,000 people registered for it. Oh, wow. I'm not sure. I mean, we met some people. I'm just still buzzing from it. We see that there's a lot of excitement around the future of finance in particular, and there's so many new DeFi products being built. Whether it's going to be something like new perps dexes, spot dexes, liquidity engines, as well as kind of the different kinds of vault products. I think there's a good innovation with the first vault from, say, Hyperliquid, but there's so much more to do in the vault-based space that generally also earns yield and provides trading venues for customers. I think that the just ability to kind of move their assets around chain as well as participate in the ecosystem, whether there's going to be new airdrops or new campaigns, is something that I think everyone's very excited about.
Fantastic. And now final question, because we'll have you in the hot seat, but we're also kind of moving ahead and looking to Binance Blockchain Week in December, where we're thrilled to have you on board as a speaker and taking time out of your busy schedule. Is there any conversations or narratives that you think are really shaping Aptos, but also the wider industry at large, that we should absolutely be covering, or trends that you would expect to see on stage?
I think that we're really getting close to that point where traditional finance and DeFi are like starting to meet, right? So the kind of rise of digital asset treasuries is huge, right? And kind of brings traditional finance more into the crypto space. I think it's done really well for Bitcoin, for Ethereum, and will do others well for others in the space. I think Aptos is really well positioned for this, given our background from Meta and Facebook and Libra and Diem. I think we've always been a very good connector to traditional markets, and I think we'll start to see more of that happening in the future.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, and we'll see you in Dubai in Blockchain Week.
Thank you very much, Jessica.